Hey, good afternoon, English 1010 Online. I just wanted to talk to you for a few minutes about writing assignment 2 because it causes students the most problem of all the writing assignments. And I think it's because it's a quote negative message. So people have the idea that they need to use, "I regret to inform you," or "we cannot do something." You don't want to use that negative language. So you're telling somebody something that he or she will probably not want to hear, but you're supposed to do it using positive language. So instead of telling somebody, for example, "you do not qualify for our credit card because your credit score is 560, instead say, when your credit score reaches 750, please apply with us again." So you're not telling your recipient negative language and you're a loser with a low credit score. You don't say that. You're just telling them what your requirements are, and then when that person reaches the requirement, then he or she can reapply for a credit card. So in this one, this particular case study, and you will need to use this case study. You're not making up your own case study. So for this one, you are the Vice President of Mark Mendelson Financial Services. You are not Mark Mendelson. You just work at that company as the Vice President. So you're going to still use your name. Okay, so you serve a lot of different people, but one of the people that you serve is Paulina Ramirez, and she's the President of the Board of Directors of the National Court-Appointed Special Advocates. And she has requested that Mark Mendelson Financial Services become a key contributor to CASA, which is the acronym for that organization. She's told you all about CASA, what they do, and so she would like for you to give a pledge of $1,000, which that will make your organization a key contributor to CASA. The problem is that right now you just can't afford it. But Mark Mendelson Financial Services is a financial services company. And not only are you a financial services company, but you are Paulina Ramirez's financial advisor. So you cannot tell her in a letter that you're having financial problems, because then she's going to think, well, I don't want to be having my money with those people. I want to go somewhere else. So she's probably going to tell friends and family as well that, MMFS is not a good place to keep your money or to handle your money. So you can't say that. You're going to have to say something else. So one of the things that you might talk about is how at this point, and keep in mind, you guys have given money in the past. You do donate to them. You just don't give $1,000 a year. Maybe you give $500 a year or $400 a year. Whatever you figure into your charitable donations budget every year is what you give. So what you may say to her, since we're already into November, you may say that the charitable donations have already been allocated this year, and that she is, that CASA will receive $500 or whatever you have allocated for CASA. But that she does need to reapply for a key contributor donation request by, say, April 15th, 2019. So that's when you need to have your charitable contributions request forms in. So she needs to make sure she applies next year, and it includes that $1,000 key contribution request in that form. So that's one thing that you can do. But keep it upbeat. Start off with a nice buffer where you compliment her on the work that CASA does. Or if you know that she's done some particular work with CASA, you might mention that. You can have a little bit of creativity in this letter. But you still have to stick to the facts of the letter. So you're still going to have to say no. But you don't want to say no. You want to give the reasons for your refusal, and then you want to imply the refusal and provide an alternative solution. So some people may choose to offer a smaller donation. Some people may offer access to MMFS's conference center for certain dates of the year to hold a charity benefit or whatever. That might be nice. You can't give her money, but maybe you could offer her this option. But keep in mind, you want to avoid saying anything negative. In your textbook, particularly in chapters, I think 3 and 4, go into detail about what words to avoid and phrases to avoid that are negative. Also, you need to avoid first person. You want to use the you attitude. So you want to replace I and we with you and your. And when you refer to yourself, it's not ever I and me. You can refer to your company. So you can write out one time Mark Mendelson Financial Services, and then you can use in parentheses MMFS. And that way, if you ever refer to yourself again, you can use the MMFS. The same is true for CASA. Write out that entire National Court Appointed Special Advocates one time, and then use CASA aside of it. And after that, you can use CASA every time if you want to make reference to CASA anymore. Also, you don't want to use sappy details like, oh, I just love CASA. I love all that CASA does. Or the world needs more CASA. You need to avoid using hyperbole and a lot of syrupy sweet. You can say that Mark Mendelson Financial Services admires the work that CASA does. CASA provides underprivileged and neglected or abused children in your service area. You can say nice things, but just don't write those kind of sappy kind of things like how you love that organization or I just love you. You're so awesome. Don't use that kind of language. And I do get that's why I'm telling you. I wanted to tell you because I don't want you to have 5 points here, 5 points there marked off because you're using that kind of language. Okay, so is there anything specific? Oh yeah, I just wanted to go over the letterhead and everything for you. So I'm going to shrink this for just a moment. I want to show you the letter this is a donation request refusal right here. And it's in a PDF format, but the other letters are in Word. But I just wanted to show you, this is an example of how you can avoid telling somebody no. So make sure that you read this carefully. I wanted you to be able to see that. So please don't forget that it's there. I provide examples, and I always wonder if people actually look at my examples. Because it's very important that you understand how to say no without saying no. And then let me go back, and I just want to pull up a simple a template here. Let's see if this is the one that I wanted to show you. I think it might be. A little bit slow. Okay, yeah, this is it. So, what I did was I added the letterhead for Mark Mendelson Financial Services, and I also added the footer because I couldn't really comfortably add the phone, fax, and internet web address up here because your letterhead needs to begin at the top ½ inch margin, and then it's going to take about 1 inch or 1.5 inches. So I felt like it was easier to create this footer. Okay, so I do not want you to use mine. I want you to be creative and create your own. But I wanted to show you how you can create this ½ inch top margin in case you don't know. So if you will, you can just, if you're starting on a blank document, click on Layout and click on Margins and click on Custom Margins. And then you can just click right here where it says Margins Top. It'll be 1 inch because 1 inch margins all the way around is your default in Microsoft Word. So you can just use these little arrows to manipulate the amount. So top should be 0.5 and click OK. So that's one way of doing it. Another way is to double click up here in the header section, and then put your header or your letterhead right up here. Make sure that you do include the address I provided for you in the assignment sheet. Okay, and everything is here. Now, when you say to her in your conclusion, if you have any questions, please contact me at, you don't want to give the phone number and fax number. You want to give your extension, because you want her to feel like she can call you personally, not just call the company and find somebody to be directed to. Give your extension, not a fax. That stuff is going to be in your letterhead or your footer, but you don't want to put it in the letter as a way to contact you. Also, you want to give the website address and the footer, but you want to give your email address. So I would say jennifer.davis at, write all of this, or I could say jennifer.davis at mmfs.com. That would be an option. Okay, and let's see. Something else I didn't want to forget to tell you. Oh yeah, please do not include your name in the letterhead. The letterhead is a paper that's used by every single person in the company. Therefore, it should not have any one person's name on it, only the company name. So I just wanted to tell you that. And also in your letter, if you say something like, please find this year's donation check of $500 enclosed, then you want to go down below your title, double space and type the word enclosure. If you do not have anything, then skip that part. And then, since you're the vice president of this corporation or this company, you probably have a secretary. So you would double space below the enclosure if you have one and type the initials of the typist, not your own. So you can pretend that you have a secretary. That would be fun. Okay, so but you don't have to. You can pretend like you wrote it yourself. But if you have any questions about anything with your header or a letterhead or whatever, please let me know. I will say that if you decide to go into Microsoft Word and try to use a template, templates are extremely difficult to work with unless you know how to work with them. And that's fine if you do. But the problem with letterheads is that their spacing does not fit the required spacing that you have to follow. So that can be a real pain sometimes when you're trying to use a template and then the spacing isn't perfect. So you can keep that in mind, and if you want to use it, you can always select the entire document, right click on it, and click on Remove Content Control, and you'll just have to go through and start the paper over. This right here is not at the 1/2 inch margin, I don't believe, so we would have to set it up for the correct margin. So that could be a little bit of a problem. So let's go. That's just the height of that actual, so it's not really giving us the top of the 1/2 inch margin. I'll have to go to layout and go to margins, and I can choose. So I can do it like that. But that's one way of doing it if you would like to. I don't want to tell you that you have to do that, but we'll want to go in and set up your spacing so that you've got 0 before, 0 after, and then you've got single space. Oops, not 1.5, single space. And then you control the spacing. So anyway, my time's running out. If you have any questions, please text. You've got my text number, or you can email me. I'm gone for the weekend, so don't email me at my work email address. You can message me in Blackboard, or better yet, you can email me at my Gmail account that I gave you guys. But if you have any questions, I look forward to hearing from you. Otherwise, have a wonderful rest of the day and a great weekend.